Ah, back and better than ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's us, Heather. Folks, listeners, hi. Hi. Happy Cap. Happy last. Happy
Last
last of Cap.
Cap. Oh my God, I'm so excited for Aquarius. Sorry, Cap. I
Well, you're a little, it's okay to be biased. It's okay to
Yeah.
love your sun sign because then
Mm-hmm.
after Aquarius is me.
Yeah. No, I really just
um,
want to jump to April, but anyway.
but we'll get there. We'll
Yeah,
get
we
there in
will.
the pod and explain why, and we will also get to April, won't we, Heather?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, listeners, welcome back. We've got Heather Cunningham here, the one and only, looking angelic as ever.
Oh,
Uh,
hi.
just always doing the Lord's work, the universe's work, if you will. I mean that. That sounded sarcastic, but I did
No,
mean it.
yeah, I tried.
And it's me, Miranda Linsky. I am just so happy to be here. I am
Oh,
just like, it's an honor to be nominated. Um, no, I do. Heather and I just talked for too long. We had to get to recording. Um, don't worry, we saved all the goody, juicy stuff for this. Don't you worry, folks. Um, but I do. These are just this podcast means so much to me.
me
And
too.
we're in Capricorn. I'm just thinking
Mm-hmm.
about how hard we've worked on this and how for
Mm-hmm.
how long and how consistent,
Yeah,
how committed we both are and how much joy we still get out of
still
this
feel.
even now. If not more, if I'm being honest, than day
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Um that's not a gimmick. Again, we're making no money yet, folks. No one paid me to say that. But yeah, I just Capricorn's a nice, as we're in the last week of Capricorn, I'm reflecting on, because again, as we've spoken, or I know we said this, we've spoken on this before, Heather, and I know we said this on the last podcast episode. I'm a, again, it's a little selfish of me because my birthday is in March, but I'm more of an astrological calendar New Year person. And what
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean by that is that the astrological calendar is sort of what I've now trained myself to go
Yeah.
off of more than anything. Um, Not that I don't
You
participate in the
mean
human
the
one.
actually energetically accurate?
Well, and also I was down this huge rabbit hole, not to tangent us, like that there's also like supposed to be like a 13th month and just how much of spirituality, I don't know. We'll talk more into that because I don't know if you believe in the, I know there was a time, Heather, where like the astrological signs, it was like one doesn't exist, or
Oh
the
God.
calendar means that the dates are all like, but regardless of that, it just like I went down this whole deep dive of how like mankind, specifically the patriarchy, is so involved in the human made calendar, which makes sense in a lot of ways, as is like a lot of our society. But also, again, just going off the astrological calendar, Aries is the first,
Hmm.
right? Sort of season
Hmm.
and month, if you will, of the astrological calendar. And yeah, I just love spring, the idea of spring being a reset and energetic, like, yeah, I just love, I'm just I'm that's more of my new year personally.
Yeah.
um and I know we've talked about that before, but Capricorn to me is still a time to do, especially in the last week of it, to do a lot of reflection and take note of a lot of things I have accomplished, right? Because Capricorn wants that, kind of likes that list on paper.
Hmm.
Not that
Hmm.
everything that you work hard at or that like is meaningful to you can be proven on paper necessarily, but
Hmm.
Capricorn likes, I know that the Capricorn energy likes those sort of analytics. It
Yeah.
likes seeing the hard work, and it's also like a nice reminder. Anyways,
Yeah.
and
I
this
think
podcast is a part of that for me. Go on.
totally, totally. I can't agree more. I think for your chart, if you have Taurus rising, I think that would put Capricorn in your ninth house, because then it would put Aquarius in your 10th, Pisces in your 11th, Aries in your 12th. Yeah. So, like, house wise, this time is about like philosophies, life philosophies, and beliefs, and
Mm.
forming a belief system is all the ninth house stuff. Um, I don't know. I've been thinking about that a
Hmm.
lot because, like, yes, we're in Capricorn season, but the sun just moved into my sixth house, which is Virgo's house of daily routines and the mind, spirit, body connection and health stuff. And literally, the day that the sun moved into the sixth house, I got a roaring UTI. And I was like,
Mm.
oh God, like, is this going to be like a whole month-long transit like thing that I'm dealing with? And it was, Miranda, the worst UTI I have ever had in my life. I thought I was having kidney stones. I was legit like, I'm alone in my apartment and I might die. Like, should I? But
Oh
that's
my
just me being
God,
dramatic. I
Heather.
mean, I was fine as soon as I got the
No,
antibiotics, but like,
they can just be
it was
God's blessed.
horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. Oh, I know. Well, I think we talked about this a little bit too, Heather. Like way before I even knew you could get a UTI from having sex. Sorry, mom. I was like getting them as a child, like
Yeah, that's
as
crazy
and
and
apparently
horrible.
it was horrible, and it had everything to do with I was one of those kids that sprouted really early. I was like
Mhm.
so tall, so much faster than everyone. My grandmother was the same. Got my period in elementary school. I got it pretty young.
What?
I'm sharing a lot on the podcast today, bitch. Yeah,
Wow. I
yeah.
didn't get mine till sophomore year of high school. I'm the opposite of
Right.
you.
No, I like that's to me. Well, I guess that is late because
I
when
got
I
it
guess most people get them, I got it so early. But I
close
do
to
think
16.
I guess
Anyway,
the average is more like in the middle school
like
years.
middles, yeah, like I feel like
Yeah.
sixth, seventh grade is average.
And
Anyway,
it wasn't even too like I had like an elementary kid like period. Like I like was a woman. Like it was like it wasn't and they were
that's
like
crazy.
regular from that point on. Yeah, it was
Wow.
and my grandmother apparently too. A Taurus sun and I'm a Taurus rising, so maybe there's something
Wow.
there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just like that was anyways, before I started getting periods, like I remember the whole summer, I think like before it finally came, my uterus was like going through development or whatever as a small child.
Oh,
And apparently that is a weird common thing that like when you're growing can happen. And it's like she just kind of has to like grow into her like body a little more and she'll stop just getting these all the time. But it was like it was all the fucking time. It was miserable. I just like I cannot feel your pain more, quite literally. And God, every woman can relate. They just, ooh, the
it
UTIs
was
will take you out right out.
horrible,
But
but
then also,
it's over.
I do feel like, not to be like, not to hit you over the head with positivity, but like sometimes I do like to, like when I'm injured or ill, I do, and and it's like, okay, it feels like I have to rest. Like you're forced into sort of a
I like
rest.
forced rest. Yeah.
Right. Or like you're forced into a healing place. You're
Yeah.
forced to like, okay, take time off, lay down. You literally don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Um, it's like interesting, like the areas too, of like sometimes when you're like maybe it's like I slept weird on my neck, and then it like makes me sort of like think about what am I trying to say? My throat chakra.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, the
Or I
sun
have a
entered.
migraine. My
Yeah,
solar plexus chakra. I don't know if that's solar plexus actually. I don't really know the
I think
chakras.
so. But
Go
no,
on,
I
Heather. Sorry.
agree. It made me way more body conscious and like serendipitously it was when the sun was entering my sixth house of health, but like uh I feel like
Interesting.
since the UTI, I've been way better about all other health things, like putting on moisturizer at night and like eating healthier and like I'm like just it was like a all right, take care of yourself. Like you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be in this pain.
Right.
Um
I'm
so
never as like healthier than like right after a cold because all I want to
yeah.
do is like clear my body out, cleanse it, heal it. Um,
Yes.
so it's almost like it it shouldn't take me having to get sick to be at my healthiest, of course, but
Right.
just that extra precaution. It is like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the cycles, baby. Just like astrology, the health cycles as well. And it's so like the way I never used to think how much your mental and like spiritual health, like how your insides feel on a spiritual and emotional level, and also just like a health level, how much that affects the physical. And how much like pain can be an indicator or like weird body things can be an indicator of like something going on mentally or deep in the
Totally.
roots. It just It's all connected. I don't
Totally.
know. I don't know.
Totally.
Ah,
Yeah.
Heather, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have brought up my child UTI, my childhood
No,
UTI.
that's
But then
horrible.
I'm like,
That's
I
so
tangented us.
awful.
I'm
No,
like, is it
it's
not so Capricorn to talk about a UTI
yeah,
from a
I feel like it is actually. But wait, speaking of Capricorn, I want
yes,
to
please. I'm
go
sorry.
back to what we were talking about before we started recording and the fact that Pluto, okay, Pluto is going to be moving into Aquarius at the end of this month, and it's going to be in Aquarius this year for the longest it ever has been. It's going to
Hmm.
be there till like September or something. I
Yep.
maybe I know that it goes back into Capricorn around November, around when the election is. And the last time like 200 plus years ago that Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the American Revolution, and the French Revolution was happening around that time too. And Pluto is the planet of transformation and
Hmm.
revolution, and Aquarius is also about humanity and rebelling against the institutions. And I feel like you can feel it in the air. We are on the cusp of something. But I just like wanted to tell the listeners that the last time this happened was during the American Revolution. Because I feel like that's so indicative of what's to come.
Right. And I know that like it probably feels like we've been saying we're on the cusp of something for a minute, but it
But we
is
have
more
been.
but like that's it literally I'm like and we're just only gonna say it more.
I
But
know, like, but it's
the cusp is like here. It's
yeah,
more of like we're not coming upon it as more as it feels like okay, we are officially like entering the first stages
yeah,
of this newfound energy and the loadedness of this year. So many like upcoming movements and what they mean for humankind. Yeah. Even astrologically, like a lot of the astrologers, if you will, I won't get into them. I won't quote any real names because I can't. But based on a lot of what I'm reading, what I'm hearing about this year specifically in the astrological realm, it even talks about like not to scare anyone, but like big shifts like with the physical world even. Um and I feel like that is so like energetically part of big shifts happening in our society in real time and what we've just like all kind of know what's to come. I feel like we've been talking about this for a minute, Heather, where it's like we're on the brink of something, we're on the brink of something, but it is getting to a place where it's just becoming a part of, I think, even now casual conversation of like
yeah,
there's a lot that needs to change, right? On
yeah.
really big community human levels.
Mm-hmm.
And right as we're shifting, it's like all coming to a T as we're shifting into this like
Yeah,
astrologically as well. I mean,
yeah.
mm-mm-mm.
I know.
Not to scare
Ah,
anyone. I just like
and
I
yeah,
think it could also I think it means a lot of beautiful, beautiful things on the
totally.
horizon because a desire for change doesn't come from a place of like being in a really great place or like being in a perfect spot and it's not from a place of being in a high vibration all the usually
Mm-hmm.
changes like a desperate desire for change comes from being in a
Yeah,
low vibrational state and it feels like a lot of people are just really on the train for wanting to up level their vibrations so to speak.
totally.
I'm like, am I
And
making any sense?
people who have birthdays at the end of Capricorn or early Aquarius should be feeling it hella and like
And
coming
be
into
leaders.
power. Yeah.
Yeah, lead us through this, won't you please?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We need your leadership skills. Am I off there, Heather? I feel like that's like Aquarius kind of likes to lead. Maybe not.
You
In Cap, I
know,
know I
it's
feel like likes to lead.
interesting. The Aquarius Leo thing has an interesting relationship with leadership. It's like they're
Mm.
very conscious of like responsible power, but I don't think either one is like the first one to step up to it. Like there's some Leos that are like, I love being a leader, but I've also seen a lot that are like, I don't want that responsibility. Like
It's more thrusted
I'll
upon
do it
them,
if I yeah, it's kind of that.
and it's more of like, well, you would be really good at it. It's not so much that they're going after it as much as it's like,
Capricorn now will be like, me, I'll do it, that
and no one asked. Just kidding. Just kidding. Ah, yes. Capricorn. It is interesting. Like Capricorn being in again, the winter seasons and sort of this like, again, if we're also, if like we're going off of seasons, right? And it's the winter time, a lot of people are talking about this. It's like this isn't necessarily a time to just jump headfirst into goals. I do, however, think Capricorn's a beautiful time to think about those goals. And I know I
Hmm.
mentioned this like the last pod as well, but um not that you don't have to also take action if that's what feels right in the bones and in the energy, but the more people discuss like the nature cycles, and like now that I live in a place with seasons and I'm more aware of those nature cycles in that way, especially in a city, because like getting out and like seeing the seasons is a huge, like, getting nature is so imperative that like, yeah, seeing the seasons is just inevitably a part of it when you're constantly making sure you get out there.
Yeah,
Anyway, or just, and being in a city that's walkable. You're in the elements, whether even if you
totally,
don't go out of your
totally.
way to
Hmm.
nature. Um, which is kind of fun because I do feel weirdly, I've moved, New York is a huge metropolitan city, right? It's the biggest in America. And yet I feel like a part of nature in a lot of ways more than I
Right.
ever did, because like you have to be in the elements, even though it's like
Makes
I'm taking
sense.
a train and then walking by all
Yeah,
these huge
yeah, yeah.
buildings. Like I'm in the elements much more than I was like
In
when I was living in
California.
LA, or yeah, even Florida, because I was in a car, or like, not that you're not still experiencing the elements, don't get me wrong, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like Capricorn is still an energy of like gearing up, and it's like, okay, like we're heading into the end of winter, or it's like, it's peak winter, but it's also, we know, and just like there's only another like month of it really before it starts just inevitably getting warmer, and we're going to dip into spring. Like there's maybe another solid month of cold, and then those last 2 weeks of winter start getting a little warmer. There's
Mhm.
like some
Mhm.
off days, and yeah, I just still think this energy is a like the Capricorn energy is still a beautiful time to get your individual goals like established, and have like, to be thinking on that, meditating on that, however you do, journaling it. And then we go into Aquarius season, not to get ahead of ourselves. I know we're still in Cap, I'll relax, but like of like building, so you have your individual goals in mind, and then what a beautiful time to then get your like foundation, to get with your community, to like get
Mhm.
your like that energy of like being a part of a bigger something, getting that, aligned. Then we move into this like emotional Pisces of like reflecting now, okay, like of the entire astrological year we just had, of all the energies, of sort of going in like doing a little bit of that shadow work, because right, we've established the goals we want, we've, or and like just sort of the motives and the grounding we want for our individual selves. Then we've spent time in that community energy and establishing again in this sort of off season, and then we have this like Pisces dark, a little more intuitive, shadowy time of working through the muck, so that we can boom be reborn into fiery Aries. Like that's
Totally.
sort of how I'm pacing this time. And
Yeah.
it's been so fucking beautiful.
Yeah, yeah,
Where it's
yeah,
just been
yeah.
really nice to
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm being
Nailed that.
lazy, maybe I'm taking the cheap way out of not doing my 2024
No.
goals, but no, I just like, to me that energy is so aligned, like
Yeah.
these last three seasons in particular before Aries, we have this burning fire, like what a beautiful lineup
Yeah.
before. Then it's like, now we take action, now we hit
Yeah.
fire and we go forward because we took the time to fucking establish,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think so many times this is why people get let down, because it's all of a sudden like, it's just because the new fucking year rotated over, that like, oh, all of a sudden you just have to make this list of goals to feel fucking bad about, because usually by March you've run yourself into the ground on them, that your people fade out of them. Like that's always the
Yeah.
joke, right, with the new year's, that like by March you won't be doing any of this. I think it's sometimes like, I've never ever, and not that you even have to have goals. Let me just also make that stance. Sorry, Heather. I'll get off this soapbox in just a second. Um, but like also if making goal, like I don't think we have to necessarily make goals. I when I say
Yeah.
goals, what I mean more is like forward growth, what I hope to learn from myself and from others this year, what I feel like my energy is lacking and where I would like to nurture it, and where I feel like I'm abundant in other places in my energy and in my life. I can like,
Mm-hmm.
to me also goals is not so mathematical. I do think that term is way more umbrella than people, and when you get behind that, it makes it more gentle. But of course, it's like so many people don't fucking carry out their 2024 goals, especially if you like felt pressured by the New Year countdown
Mm-hmm.
and in the Christmas holidays when you're relaxing and trying to like take a minute in the winter to like, not even Christmas holidays, all the holidays, or just the end of the year celebrations in our human calendar, to hit us over the head with play and then strict work of like, okay, now it's the first and you're hungover and you have to get down to your goals. Like, it doesn't make any gosh darn sense. And
I'm
then
with
it's like,
you.
I wrote these goals the week before because I had to have something for the 20,
I know.
anyways.
I think that goals are great if you're an earth sign or if you're a Capricorn.
Right.
Then like and if your
Yep.
energy is naturally yeah, naturally gravitates toward that kind of exercise. But
Right.
for Pisces, it's probably better to just intuitively flow with the current moment and
Yeah. Also, I should be very aware of my bias of like,
oh
yeah.
no, me too, me too. I mean, I'm somewhere in between, I guess, because I do have my Taurus moon in the 10th house and
But this is
some
also, I think, also, so sorry, Heather. I promise I'm going to wrap this. I don't mean to sound so preachy. What I
no.
want to wrap up and also finish this up with is saying that, like, what is something that astrology has really taught me and spirituality as a whole, um, is being content, and not even so much content, being secure in the moments where it doesn't feel like anything's happening. I
Yes.
think that's more of like my whole point of this. And I think
Yes.
goals can be a really great distracting thing of like, I'm a new person now because I've set these goals. What's actually, I think, going to be more changing is sitting and like there's a lot of energy that is like that needs to be stagnant. It's necessary to
Totally.
cycle. Distracting yourself from it doesn't make that energy any less stagnant. You got to work through it, right? And like astrology has taught me so much about really cherishing the moments
Yes.
of working through things, or where it feels like things aren't
Progressing.
right. It's
I
like
love
because
that you said that.
it doesn't take away from you as a human being. I think sometimes, and I'm not, this is in no means trying to put down Capricorn. I think Capricorn is one of the like, I think a lot of astrological like Pisces, for example, when it comes to astrology and humanity, I think Pisces likes to lean more astrologically. I think a lot of earth signs like to lean more like a little more human, and I don't mean that like one's less spiritual than the other or less astrological. I just do think like by nature certain elements, we ourselves are these spiritual human beings. We're both. There's a balance. That's why there are signs that, like, I do just feel adapt really well to the human experience more than signs that are maybe still stuck, or not stuck, but just like are more comfortable on the astrological side of things, if that makes sense. It's
Totally.
both sides are a part of the human experience.
Yeah,
Both
yeah.
signs are, both sides are a part of,
Necessary and yeah.
right, right. And that's like the beauty, I think, and is not trying to change everything and be perfect and, to be brand new. It's to work with the parts of yourself, right? That
Yeah.
it's to find the balance. That is where harmony is. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Let me shut the fuck up. Heather, please
No, but I
take
love
the
that you said
reins.
that because I do. I feel like astrology in my life has been such a gift, and one of the main ways that it's been like a stress relief is
Mm-hmm.
this idea that like things happen when they're supposed to, and
Mm-hmm.
like I don't have to work myself to the bone 24/7 when things feel stagnant. Like stagnance is a part of the process, and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Turns out most things are not linear.
Yeah, that too.
Astrology
Yeah.
isn't,
Yeah.
spirituality is. Like, there's so much about our natural world that is not just linear.
Yeah.
Why on earth do we hold ourselves to that standard? And maybe this
Yeah.
does not resonate with you, listener. God bless you if it doesn't. I just unfortunately do think we can get stuck in this rut sometimes of like, it's just like anything. When you're too involved in the human world, you're the spiritual, astrological, more like, what am I trying to say? Universal self
Yeah.
to
The
feel
higher.
that lack, and just like, and then vice versa. Because then as a
Mm-hmm.
Pisces, I've really fucked over human me by being too involved in my spiritual sign.
Oh, I know.
So,
Me too. I'm dealing with
it's a
that. Ugh.
balance.
It's
It's
a
a balance. None of this to say I'm
balance.
talking shit about Capricorn. And again, I said this to Heather before we started recording. I think I'm envious of a lot of earth signs because of their natural ability to really adapt well to
There's a great
society. I'm
totally.
not trying to say that's about, I feel like how I'm putting this is sounding bad.
I I really admire Capricorn's acceptance, and this is a Saturn thing too. And I've been thinking about Saturn so much. Obviously, we're at the end of our Saturn returns, and
Right.
but they're so good at accepting life's limitations, or
Mhm.
just like accepting reality and accepting that a part of reality is holding back sometimes, disciplining yourself, like being met with restriction. Like, I envy that so much. My
Right.
mom has that in like abundance, and I am just constantly, the Aquarius Pisces in me is just constantly like, but things could be more ideal. Like there could be so much more. Like, and I'm really trying hard to like just accept things as they are without, like it's still good, I think, to aim for the stars and to like see brighter heights for yourself and to aim for that. But like to
Mhm.
also not drive yourself crazy.
Right.
But Capricorn's very good at like being ambitious, but still like accepting the conditions that they're in and like the
Right.
like I do admire that.
They're a head up kind of sign. And I know we're shifting into our birth chart here soon, but
Yeah.
this is like, I also said this to Heather before the podcast, and we'll get into it more. It's like no wonder so many of my favorite performers or artists or like people who have worked really hard to get where they're at, just idols in general. It's no wonder to me that a lot of them have Capricorn undertones. And I do think um a lot of people we idolize, and when they're at places of like even being a public figure, it comes from a place of like, wow, the work they put in to get there, right? And you love seeing that from your athletes, for example. A little foreshadowing there for
Mm-hmm.
the folks, but
Mm-hmm.
like that is like, I want my athletes to be Capricorns. Like that is just
Mm-hmm.
like, you want your whole team to be full of Capricorns at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? When it does come to like success and winning, I'm like, yeah, I want all the caps, because
Capricorn
it's,
and fire.
yes, yes. And it's, speaking of this next birth chart, but yeah, it's such a, I do really love caps energy. And again, I know that we just like talking about our personal charts, Heather, too, and how like we don't have a ton of like, we personally don't have cap undertones. That's like what this energy is for. Again, I love that we get to still be a part of Capricorn, get to still like have positive moments in its energy, get to feel the uncomfortableness of where we're not so, that it's not just so in that we're not as in tune with it. That's like the beauty of
Yeah,
being in each sign. And we're not
totally.
in it forever. So it's like embracing it is like, I love embracing all the signs,
Me
especially
too.
the ones I feel like I lack the most of. Because it's like, ah, what a time to feel that uncomfortableness or that like not in my comfort zone. And with that, I think Pisces is, for, again, that's my sun sign, and that's still, oh, it ends up always being a hard season for me.
Aquarius season 2 for me, low key. I
Yeah.
think like the birthday, yeah, because it's your solar return. It really puts like a spotlight on
You're like,
you.
please just move on to the next, please.
Yeah.
Um, no, yeah, I
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's, this is our last week of Capricorn, correct, Heather? Because, or
Yeah.
the 20th, I believe. Yes, the 20th is when the
Yeah.
sun goes into
Oh, so
Aquarius.
soon. Yeah.
That is very soon. So really soak in the last of Cap. And we've talked about this before too. It's like we're gonna have or to when is it? We already had the new moon in Cap last week. And so it's like these signs love to do their last little hurrah before we like move into the next one. And I feel like I'm personally feeling a lot of the Capricorn grounded earth getting the goals in order energy. Yeah.
And Aquarius season starts with a kapow, which we can talk about more later, but like because Pluto, the slowest moving, most intense planet, is right on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius, and it's about to move into Aquarius. The
Mm,
sun is like putting a spotlight on Pluto, moving right next to Pluto, and then they're both moving into Aquarius kind of like together. So
all right.
they're saying that even by the end of this week, there could be like secrets revealed, like the sun is shining a light on the Plutonian secrets of society, or like, there could be a theme of that. But anyway, not to tangent. We have to talk about our
Our birth
amazing
chart.
Capricorn that I am obsessed with.
Oh, Heather, I am also I'm very excited for this next one. Oh, we are excited about this Capricorn, the one, the only LeBron James.
Oh, LeBron.
LeBron James.
Oh
I
my
can't. I can never
God.
not say his name without doing it. It's so funny. Um, yeah, Heather, you being a Miami Heat fan,
Alex
you. Oh, go ahead, please.
Alex Nightingale will attest to this. I
You're
literally
a
in high
sports
school,
girly.
I was so into just the Heat specifically. Like the basketball
That's
is
hot.
the only sport I want to watch.
If you're gonna
Um
pick just one, basketball's the one. You
and I
know,
think
it's
part
like,
of it is that I grew up cheerleading for basketball. Like whenever I did
mm-hmm.
cheerleading, it was never for football, it was for basketball. But I also just think objectively, it's the most
Interesting.
fun sport to watch because
Yeah.
it's so simple and it moves so fast. And it's like so easy to understand.
And
And
it's so
like,
fun to attend because it's always indoors. So like you never have to
yeah,
stress it. Like football is like so many of those stadiums are outside. A lot of them have roofs now, but still, it's like basketball. You can always like stay cute when you're there, no matter if
yeah.
it's hot or cold.
No,
Go
it's
on, go
so
on.
true. I'll never forget one Christmas when I was like probably in eighth grade. Me, my sister, and my two stepbrothers got to go to a Miami Heat game on Christmas Day when
Mm,
Shaquille O'Neal and LeBron James and Dwayne
wow,
Wade were all on the team. And I
wow,
was like such a fan as like a little eighth grader. And it was like the greatest thing
that's
ever.
so
Like,
cute.
yeah. No, I would literally like turn down like hangouts with my friends because I was like, there's a Heat game tonight. Can we like at least like go to a bar where they're playing the game? And like I
Heather, I
kind of
never
miss
knew
that version of
this.
myself. I know I had a sports moment. I'm also wearing my Victoria's Secret sports shirt today, which I totally like didn't even do on purpose. Um, but
That's
love
so
LeBron. Dwayne
funny.
Wade's my favorite, but LeBron
Oh my God.
obviously is. I also think Dwayne Wade is like so hot.
Well,
But
yeah. But you're blowing my mind. This is really funny. It's also
it's so
funny to
random.
hear. It is so like, again, sorry for the listeners who haven't known Heather as long as I have. I don't think, I mean, I knew we had talked about this. We're like, you're like, oh, I like grew up being a really big Heat fan, and like still are you still?
I don't follow it anymore. Also, I grew up at the time that they were at their
They were
reign. They were
dominating.
dominate, so it was really fun to watch a team that was always winning and watch LeBron at his, top
Yeah.
but
Capricorn.
Capricorn. But I don't follow it now, but I like want to. I want to go to a Lakers game and see LeBron. I
Yeah.
would love to go to a Lakers game versus the Heat. That's like
They're
a goal.
so the only bummer about Lakers games, unless I mean, maybe there are
I'm sure
deals.
it's impossible to get tickets.
They're so fucking expensive.
Mhm.
But they were when I moved to LA, I went to basketball games, but I went to Clippers games because Clippers tickets,
Oh.
like not even nosebleeds, like decent, like not bad seats for the most part, would be like 12-20 bucks. And
Wait,
like
really?
it's the exact same arena. It's the Staples Center. So
Oh,
they
maybe
both
I
of the
do
teams play
that and
there.
I like try and go to a Clippers versus Heat
Well, they do have
or
some
something.
like now Russell Westbrook. He's on the Clippers and I love him. He's my
Ooh.
favorite. Anyways, but sorry. But my point is, even when the Lakers did not have LeBron, when nobody was on the Lakers when I moved there and they were not good, the tickets were still like $100 for nosebleeds. Same exact arena with no one on that team, just because of like the Lakers legacy.
Yeah, yeah.
Just saying. But you could treat yourself. Also, there's probably ways. You live there, you'll figure out a way. But
Yeah,
I
anyway.
I know because I it that's so exciting. And I've been a fan of the Lakers since the Aaron Carter song. Um, How I Beat Shaq. That was like the first like basketball team I'd ever heard of. It was just like the Lakers. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Space Jam is the Lakers. I think.
Space Jam. Well, doesn't it follow his? Isn't he on the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls in
Michael
Space Jam?
Jordan, yeah. So like, wait, why wouldn't he be? Yeah, maybe he is on the Bulls in the movie.
Fuck, it's time to watch Space Jam again.
Oh my god! But then like Space
Space
Jam 2
Jam.
with LeBron, I think is the Lakers.
Oh,
Anyways,
I haven't seen
um,
that.
I just yeah, Aaron Carter made me love the Lakers. So when I moved to LA, it was funny because I was like, I'm a Lakers fan, but I couldn't afford the tickets.
Oh.
But was still like, I'm a Lakers fan, and then went to Clippers games with my Lakers. So many people go to Clippers games with Lakers stuff as if to be like, also this was just like my first
Right.
game and I just didn't have a basketball shirt. It was the only one I had was a Lakers one. And then so many people at the Clippers game were wearing Lakers shirts. It was so funny, as if like we all can't actually afford the game we want to be at.
Right.
Anyways, and with that, it is just so funny to hear you talk about it. I've known you for a long time. But also, even if you I'm a fan of LeBron James, and he didn't get on a team I cared about until after I moved from Los Angeles. So even if you weren't a Heat fan, LeBron James has that celebrity all star.
Universal, totally.
Right, right. He's like, yes, he's a famous basketball player. Yes, he's the GOAT, as they say, one of the greats of all time. But he's also his fire pops in because he's able to be he's so charismatic on and off the court. One of my favorite things LeBron James does is every like Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. I don't know if he still does this actually because I'm not on X really anymore. But he would always tweet out Taco Tuesday and like show pictures. Like that was like, he's got an live-in chef at his home. And I really was like, LeBron is just like me.
Yeah.
Wow, he's just like us. Like he's and like he calls like his family is he calls it, because it's King James is like,
Yeah.
one
Uh-huh.
of his many nicknames. And then so it's like he calls his family the kingdom, or like in his home is like the kingdom, and it's like Taco Tuesday at the kingdom tonight.
Oh
And
my
like he
God.
calls his kids are like the cubs, like I'm pretty sure he calls them like the cub, like as like in a Lion King reference, like I'm
Oh,
pretty sure. I want to say I'm not making that up, but it's like really funny.
that's
um
cute.
and I'm like love that he embraces that brand, like
Yeah.
that's so his fire. And honestly his Capricorn. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like with the work ethic that LeBron James has, and like you talk, like teammates talk about this, like as his teammate, you do not want to let that man down. Like
Yeah.
you will get yelled at by LeBron. And Michael Jordan was similar too. A lot of great athletes, are like this. They're not afraid to yell at their like they hold their teammates to. I think Capricorns have very high standards for themselves.
The
And
most.
and right. And when you're on a team with them, you are held at that same standard.
Yeah.
So it's not even that they're trying to even take anything out on you. It's like this is what they would say to themselves. And so that's how
Totally.
they're going to speak to you. Which is and that's usually why, when you have a successful all-star on the team, if they're a good team leader, that's why. Like it's not a selfish game to be successful in sports usually requires being a good team player. I don't
Yeah.
know. LeBron James is totally. I'd be horrified to piss him off. I've seen refs shaking their sneakers. Be like, I would be scared to be a ref and
Oh
also
my
like.
God. With his Aries moon,
Yep. Oh, is it
yeah.
Aries moon? I'm sorry. Was I saying he has
So,
Leo?
uh, I was thinking Leo when you mentioned the lion thing. I was like, oh, surprised he doesn't have Leo. But I think you just said fire. But
Okay, my
he's
bad.
a Capricorn sun, Aries
Aries moon.
moon, Gemini rising, which is
Mm-hmm.
interesting. But I
That's the
remember
tweets.
my mom and I watching my mom and I, that's true. That's so funny. My mom and I watching the Heat games growing up. My whole family would watch them and my mom would be like, see, he's pissed. Aries moon's coming out. Like he's like, like
That's so funny.
but he would get like a little bit more animatedly frustrated than say like
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was always like a little bit more chill.
Right.
I wonder what his sign is.
LeBron
But
is I do sorry, this is just the last thing I'll say. You just reminded me of I was watching I'm pretty sure he was on the Cavs, and it was the
yeah.
Golden State Warriors or the Warriors against the Cavs in the NBA Finals. And I'll never forget. I want to say it was Draymond Green of the who's one of the all stars of the Warriors at the time. I think he's still on the team. Anyways, LeBron got hit, and apparently it's a thing that he does. He's over dramatic on the court and will make an extra big. He knows that sometimes if he gets pushed a certain way, he'll sometimes overdo it a little bit to be
Right.
like,
As they do. Mm-hmm.
and Draymond Green literally like pointed and was like, oh, like did like a fainting, like laughed at him, like, and LeBron was still hamming it up, like looking at the ref, like, and like, I was kind of like,
I
did I
love
just
that
become a
shit.
bit? I literally was like, did I just become a bigger fan of LeBron? Like, that's
The
gonna get the
theater.
ratings in,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah, he's a drama queen, and I again, you want that out of your athletes
You
sometimes.
do. You
Go on,
do.
Heather. Sorry.
But Aries Moon is a notorious athlete
Mm.
placement, and especially for like contact sports like basketball. Like literally having that fire within you, like the moon is like inner power.
Mm-hmm.
And Aries is the fighter. It's the ram. It's aggressive. It's ready to fight. And then combined with the Capricorn, yeah, the work ethic. His story is also interesting. I was watching like a little bit of his documentary as I was getting ready this morning, and his mom got pregnant with him. His mom had him when she was 16, and they had like no money. The father was out of
Think
the
I knew
picture.
this. Yeah.
Which also Liz Green and a lot of astrologers would say that, you know, Capricorn is the sign of the father and the paternal archetype. So
Mm,
often Capricorn sons could have daddy issues, and the moon in Aries too. I've heard like Aries, it needs something to fight for, and I read somewhere that a lot of times, it is like you're first introduced to that with your father, like needing to like fight, for your
interesting.
identity against your father in some capacity. But yeah, he came from like nothing, you know, not a super abundant upbringing.
Right.
And his mom like realized that she couldn't give him everything he needed. And so he lived with like a neighbor or a family friend who was like a football coach at one point, and then he got into basketball at 9, which is I think still in that first Saturn square period, like 7 to 9.
Yeah.
And then by high school was on Sports Illustrated and like
Yeah.
on ESPN and stuff, like by high school. Like he's one of the youngest. He's the youngest athlete to be on Sports Illustrated. Uh
It's real
yeah.
quick too, Heather. It is so what I also want to point out because you just reminded me. I do think I knew that about him sort of being raised in a single parent household, specifically by his mother, and not really having that father figure while growing up. And then yes, finding it outwardly and then being a
Yeah, owning
fucking
his
child
authority, like
prodigy.
yeah.
Yeah, like again, it's like time and time and again that happens. But LeBron James is his current wife. He has been with since high school. Is his high
Right.
school
I
sweetheart.
yes, his high school sweetheart, and he
Like
is
he
a
did the
seventh house.
opposite of like an all sort of the opposite of what his father
You're
did.
right. You're
And I
right.
want to say he also got her pregnant while they were in high school or maybe like right out of high school. Like
Maybe.
I
I know they
want to
have three
say she was
kids.
either like between 16 and 18. I'm trying to look that up.
Oh
Sorry, but
wow.
that's why I'm looking down.
Well,
I
and
didn't like
that's
but
so
yeah.
cool. Yeah, because he's a
What an
seventh house
opposite.
sun,
Yeah, go
which they
ahead,
say is the
please.
house of one-to-one relationships and marriage.
Hmm.
And so, and with that being in Capricorn, you take that very seriously and want to commit early on. And yeah, that's so cool. And Jupiter's there too, the planet of luck and abundance. So like one-to-one
Interesting.
relationships and marriage and stuff has been it's a easy prosperous point in his chart. um Neptune's
Okay.
also on the descendant, which
I'm
adds like
sorry.
romanticism, but also like
Yeah.
a little bit of cloudy Pisces disillusionment.
Yeah,
But anyway,
because so yeah, I just to wrap that up, I do remember I remember being shocked to learn that LeBron James, like because I didn't get into basketball until much later. Jacksonville, Florida did not have a professional basketball. But I also, like you, cheered at basketball games in high school, but I
Mm.
cheered for like Pop Warner football much younger. So football was always like the first sport I learned because that was really what our games were about before I got into high school, yada, yada. But I remember being shocked to learn when I found out that LeBron was with his high school sweetheart, just because that isn't really something you see quite often with super famous people, especially athletes.
Yeah.
And I do remember I asked my boyfriend, I was like, LeBron James has been married and like, have there ever been any like cheating scandals or like allegations? And I do think that it maybe was open for a time, like when they were
Oh.
younger. But I did just read here, real quick. LeBron James, the legendary NBA player, is also a devoted father to his three children. He is married to his high school sweetheart, Savannah James, and they have two sons, LeBron, Bonnie Jr., and Bryce, and a daughter named Zuri. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to fucking read. Jesus. Sorry. It just basically said that their first, they got pregnant with their first child in 2004, or his rookie year. And she found out she was pregnant in high school, it says. I'm not sure if what that
Oh,
little excerpt I
yeah.
read was about like their firstborn, or if something happened in high school, or like she just found out
Right.
she was pregnant. I don't know if that's the same child.
Right.
Anyway, but like what a interesting timeline that was similar to his own, but what a reverse father figure he was for his
Totally.
own
Totally.
timeline as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
a father figure for this is someone who's has had to be a father figure for themselves, and then was a father figure when they needed to be, and then still did not let that stop their athletic career. Like only it,
Yes.
like it's just,
It's so Capricorn. And it's
right.
also the Capricorn. I love that you said all that. The Capricorn theme of needing to mature very young is very prevalent with him. Like
Mm,
uh yeah, like growing up without a father, being like this huge basketball prodigy so fucking young, and then getting married
mm-hmm.
and having kids so fucking young. He's like,
But then also
there's a
so much
maturity.
success so
Yeah,
young. Yeah,
success
yeah,
too,
yeah.
but like maturity is like very embedded in his DNA.
Right.
Um, but yeah, also, I have to say, the other thing that I first noticed in this chart is that Mars, which is Aries' ruling planet, which is the fighter planet, it's like the masculine principle, it's the our will and our drive and our need to assert ourselves. That is right next to his midheaven, and it forms a grand trine with Pluto and his rising. So his Mars is like super fucking powerful too, in addition to being an
Mm.
Aries moon. He's like there's a strong Aries presence in this chart. But the MC too, the midheaven, is the career point. So having Mars right next to his career point in his chart makes so much sense too. And it's like so cool. Liz Green has said that like these kinds of placements in some people could manifest very as like self-sabotage, or like just like because you're reactive, you're very fiery, and
Mm.
sometimes in everyday life, if you're working a 9 to 5, you don't know how to like use that energy. So like
Mm.
it's really cool when you see athletes cultivating that fire in a way that
Right.
is totally healthy and like natural and successful, and it's like good for his team, and yeah, it's
And good for him
and
and
good
his
for
career.
him.
Like it
Yeah,
works for
yeah.
him, not against
Right.
him.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, Heather, thank you that was beautiful. That was gorgeous. I like
It's a cool chart.
this lopside. I know this heavy ass right chart, but then with these like it's like I do feel like there's a lot of commotion happening on the right when I say right, just at the degree this is at, the way I'm looking at it. But then also we've got these like strong lines of like that are still reaching to the other side. I don't know. It's symbolically like this just looks like a strong chart. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Like
Yeah,
like
there's these
looking at
grand
it's like a
trines.
fierce chart.
Yeah, yeah. There's this big grand trine, including Pluto, the most powerful planet, and the midheaven and the ascendant, which are like the two of the most powerful points in the chart. And then you have these oppositions that are really strong too, and squares that Yeah, with Jupiter and with the Capricorn, it's a strong chart.
Oh, LeBron. Heather, LeBron, God
What a
bless you both.
great actor he is too. I just want to add, remember Trainwreck? Like he was
I have
really
not seen
good.
it. I've actually not seen it, but really?
Was. He like had a substantial role and he was playing himself, but like Kim Kardashian tries to play herself and she cannot. Like
She
LeBron James
doesn't.
was good.
It is so funny to see like Kim Kardashian try to play herself and things because I'm like, wow, this bitch could not be less aware.
It's like,
All due respect to the Libras, but I'm kind of like, I'm just like, with all the shit she hears us say about her on the internet, you'd think something would like stick, a conscience would grow somewhere. Anyway,
right?
anyway, anyway.
I...
Um, and with that, but yes, LeBron, we're big fans of your work.
Oh,
Go Lakers, baby. We miss you on the Heat, but go
hope
Lakers,
to see
baby.
you soon. I know.
Yes,
I'm
Heather, you will
over
see.
the betrayal now that it's been like 10 years, but
Heather, I'm claiming that energy for you for 2024. You're going to see. Wait, isn't the basketball season like ending?
probably.
Regardless, maybe next season,
Yeah.
God, watch him retire. Um, his age, that was one more thing I was going to add. It's also like people love comparing. I'm not here to compare Michael Jordan and LeBron James because I don't know enough about it. I know people love comparing the 6 championship
Yeah.
rings, which like hasn't LeBron been to that many at least? I mean, my God. Okay, okay. But
That,
regardless,
yeah.
LeBron's age, as I understand it, is like not normal for him to still be pretty fucking good at an age where most start falling off. And again,
Totally.
maybe he is falling off. I could totally be missing it. Alex will let us know, the big basketball lover she is. But like it's how long he's been doing it and his age, how long he like clearly has such a passion for this sport. And like just how because like he could retire.
Hmm.
He'll have plenty of
But he
money.
loves to work.
That's what I'm saying.
Capricorn.
Like I
Yeah.
think that like as long as he physically can, he just will,
Yeah.
because why wouldn't a Capricorn not work when they can, like there's
Yeah.
that ethic is just there.
Hmm.
God bless you, LeBron. We love you.
Love
Heather,
you.
shall we let the folks know what's coming up this week in terms of the sky?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, the big thing, and this happened last year too, but I don't think it was so back to back, where basically we
Mm-hmm.
enter Aquarius, the sun enters Aquarius on the 20th. But before it does that, it hits Pluto, which is right at the end of Capricorn, and then Pluto enters Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
Like within the same day or the same 2 day period. It's crazy. So that is going to be a day to look at. That's Saturday the 20th. We should feel it's not just a shift of like we're entering Aquarius season. It's like a shift of like we're entering the Aquarius Pluto decade of Aquarius
Right.
zone. So it's profound.
And like so sorry again, Heather. For the energy that like Pluto encompasses, can you just remind me of that again? I feel like you kind
It's
of just said it, but I
it's the most intense transit planet because it's Scorpio's planet.
it's
Um
Scorpio's planet. Thank you. Because
and
again, folks, sorry. I have to do this for myself every week. I genuinely
yeah,
do.
it's
And I'm hoping that there's listeners who also need this
oh, I'm
extra
sure.
like catch up. But yes, so every planet is ruled by a
By a
sign.
sign. And actually, because Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune were only discovered, I think in the was it they were, not so long ago.
Mm.
Um Before Pluto was assigned to Scorpio, Mars ruled Scorpio along with Aries. And a lot of astrologers they
Ah.
still like to go by the ancient rulership, but Liz Green, for example, feels like Pluto is the perfect
I was
Scorpio
gonna say.
sign. It is
I was
because
gonna
it's all
say.
about when you feel a Pluto transit, man, it is like
It's
it's
deep.
total destruction that brings you it's the dark night of the soul, basically. Like
Mhm.
it like destroys in order to transform you completely, phoenix rising from the ashes, all of that.
Well, I was
So
gonna say real quick, Heather, it is interesting though, again, because as not to make it all about Scorpio, but for a second, when we talked about Scorpio this past season of the
Scorpio
pod,
season.
yeah, last Scorpio season, and that was like the first time I really understood that. Also, besides just the Scorpio and how it can be a deep and dark and like colder sign, very similar to Pluto being the farthest out there, sort of
Right. The
like the
coldest planet
solitude, the
in
cold,
the
right? The
solar system.
dark, sort of like out there alone in the dark, a little bit furthest
Mm-hmm.
from the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting to that abyss. To know now that it also though used to be assigned to Mars in the same way that you taught me about the phoenix from the ashes that
Yeah,
Scorpio
yeah, yeah,
encompasses,
yeah.
and Mars is a fiery planet. And
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
those, I love sort of still knowing that and still connecting that as like an undertone in the same way I connect it to the phoenix from the ashes. Sorry, go on,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. I've been listening to
Scorpio's got
more.
fire undertones.
It does. It does. And apparently Aquarius was ruled by Saturn before Uranus, and so like Aquarius has like earth undertones, which I'm like, ah, but it's a different relationship with Saturn. But I've been listening to
Interesting.
these Hellenistic astrology podcasters lately, so I've been like hearing that a lot. Um,
Mm.
but
Sorry, please.
yeah. But no, Pluto is a big deal. Like when you can tell when someone's going through like a Pluto transit, like Kyle Richards on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where her husband suddenly became super successful. He's off with like other young girls. She's like completely changed her life, getting all these tattoos. Like it's like shit like that. Like your
And dating
life
women
just
now,
like
right?
I don't that's a rumor that I
Oh,
hope,
okay.
honestly. I hope that she's very close with this um uh queer country singer, and they're like BFFs, and she
Oh,
like gave her a tattoo
Brandy?
with the first no, Morgan.
Let me shut the fuck up. Go on,
Uh
go on.
yeah, anyway, but she's going through a Pluto as a Capricorn, a total Pluto breakdown, and it's fun to study the reality stars, like watching them go through it. But it's total. But
Interesting.
so that's why they say like America is going through that, and as a
Mm-hmm.
society, because Pluto is also a generational societal planet, we're going to see breakdowns of things and
Mm-hmm.
rebirth, and it'll be a total.
It's necessary though.
It's
It's the
necessary.
cycle, and it's what it's just it's the energy. That's
Yeah,
I'm yeah. Again, we can always look forward to a breakdown, or like not even a breakdown. I more just mean like again, as destructive,
change.
right? And as destructive as, for example, a forest fire can be, the whole purpose of a forest fire is to like burn so that there can be proper regrowth.
I just watched the movie Past Lives last night. Have you heard? I think it was nominated
Okay,
for some Golden
I'll
Globes.
watch it. Yes, I've heard so much about it.
I just watched it last night, and there was a line. You would like it because
I would. I've heard
it's
this.
so fate, it but there was a line that the Korean character's mother said that was like, when you let something go, you're welcoming something else, or like
Mm.
you're inviting something else in, and I
I
just love
know,
that.
and it's the whole cliche, right? Like these cliches that I've grown up with like my whole life, like when one door closes, another one opens.
I know,
It's
but
like
it's so
they're
true.
cliches for a reason. Yes,
Yeah,
like it's like then you roll
it's
your
how it
eyes at how
works.
many times you apply that to
Yeah.
your real life. How many times astrology can also double down and apply that, because
Yeah.
so much of the human experience is just about that you find the harmony in the balance, that like it's not about chasing a euphoric perfection. That's never going to, you'll be running forever, enjoy the hamster
Mhm.
wheel. Like
Mhm.
it is about like exactly being content and still in the stillness, and just like in riding the energy from a place of knowing that you are going to be okay. It's a cycle. It's beautiful, and it's something I got to remind myself all the time because I am constantly spiraling up here, Heather.
I
Um,
feel you.
but with that, you just again, this podcast recording calms my soul,
Me
listeners. I
too.
hope it calms yours.
Mhm.
I can't imagine me calming anyone out. Um, but yeah, thank you so much, Heather, for your wisdom. Capricorn season, we love you. Aquarius season, here we come, baby. Listeners, it's going to be a transformative, beautiful time. So just put your seatbelt on, all right? It's not, it's, it's just, that's just common grounding safety laws. That's just nothing to be afraid of. It's just, why wouldn't you buckle in?
Mm-hmm.
Arms up, baby. It's going to be a blast. All right. We got to go. Heather, I love you so much.
Love you so much.
Listeners, we love you. And we'll see you right back here next week.
Bye.
Infinite
Infinite
abundance.
abundance.
Bye.
Bye.